So I really wanted to turn these cute photo strips into keychains for me and my Desai. So I got this mold with different keychain options, and then I cut out the photo strips as close as I could. I left the border on because I felt like it still gave it that photo strip look, and I really wanted to keep that. I wanted these to be double-sided, so I made sure each picture was the same exact size. That way when I put them front to back, none of the white background would show through. I then messed around with which mold option I thought would look the cutest. I really wanted the small one, but I would have to cut off that border, and I didn't want to. And then I spent a very long time trying to figure out which pictures I wanted to use. Then I just used a tiny bit of glue to just stick them together. It doesn't have to be that much because they're going to be cast in resin. I just wanted them to not move around when I put them in. So for the keychains, I'm using epoxy resin, and I'm using this silicone mixing cup because it has measuring lines in there, and it just makes it easier to pour exactly what I need into one cup. I'm just filling up to the first line with the part A and the second line with the part B so that you can mix it evenly. And then stirring a lot like crazy. So it's very bubbly, and I let it sit for a little bit until the bubbles rise to the top. And then you can take a heat gun or a lighter, whichever you have, and pop all the bubbles. I used most of that resin for another project, and the rest I'm putting in this little cup so that I can add in some really cute glitter because I want it to be extra, because Desai and Chia deserve all the best. Ah, so sparkly, just like they are. So first I poured in a base layer. I then used a toothpick to get out the little bubbles and make sure the resin was equally distributed. I just bring the bubbles to the surface so that way then I can go in with my heat gun to pop them easier. Then I carefully placed it in and made sure it was in the spot I wanted it to be in. And I'm doing this carefully so that I'm pushing it down a little bit so that any bubbles under it don't form, because I don't want a big bubble to be on the other side. And then I poured some on top to seal it in. I let it sit for 24 hours, and now it's all ready to pop out, and it is so cute. Oh my gosh. It's perfect. And now I'm just repeating that whole process for the second one. Now for an extra little charm on the keychain, I found this really cute picture on Pinterest and I loved it, so I drew it up myself and then edited it a little bit and then printed it on transparency film. And then I cut it out with a border as big as I wanted it to be, and then I made these little X's and cut them out in circles so that I could make a hole for where I will be attaching the keychain. And I'm trying to make this as round as possible. A hole punch would be a lot easier here, but I just do not have one. I recommend you use one if you have one. After I pop these little circles out, then I go back and make the border around that a lot cleaner. So for these, I'm using UV resin because it just is harder and will be easier to like manipulate over a transparency film. Here are the keychains all done and complete. They look so cute. Oh my gosh, I love how they turned out. Here I'm just doing the back side of the charms so that the transparency film does not pop off the other side. And doing the back side will also help with the warping a little bit, and it'll bend the opposite direction to flatten it somewhat. But these are going to be slightly curved no matter what I do. I also highly recommend using gloves and not doing what I'm doing, but I was just doing this really quick and I did not have any gloves to use. Don't do what I'm doing.